Okay. Well, I hope you're all doing well and ready for an engaging conversation with Ari Galper. I'm Kirsten. I'm from the BOA events team, and we're thrilled to have you all here. With me on the call today is Laura and Beck from the BOA team. Before we get started, here are some important points. Please keep your microphones muted to minimize background noise. Use the chat for questions and comments. And this session is being recorded for later viewing. The session will run for about 30 minutes, followed by Q&A. If you encounter any technical issues, message our team in the chat for assistance. Oh, and if you've missed our alerts, we've just rolled out a new version of the app, version 1.7.7. And with it comes new communities and events that you can attend in person and virtually. So be sure to check out the latest version. Okay, so now we're ready to meet our star of the hour, Ari Galper. Ari is no ordinary speaker. He's the #1 guru in trust-based selling worldwide. He's made waves in a range of media outlets, including CEO Magazine, Forbes, Inc. Magazine, SkyNews, and the Financial Advisor Review. But here's the scoop. In today's business world, trust is the real deal, and old school selling can seem kind of old and cold and robotic. So Ari's here to sprinkle some trusty magic on our sales game. Get ready for some eye-opening insights that'll have you rethinking how you do business. In the chat now, please give a warm welcome to Ari Galper. Thanks for joining us today, Ari, and it's over to you.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet everybody. Let me do a share a screen here, and let's see how we go to get all set up. Excellent. All right. Slideshow. There we go. All right. How are we doing over there? Look okay? Good to go? Okay. Well, everyone, thanks for coming. Nice to meet everyone. You probably caught the accent. Been here for 20 years in Sydney. I'm from California originally, and met my wife online and been here ever since. So just to gonna send you around that. But look, the big idea today is I want to really give you some insights about how to change your mindset, shift your thinking around how you sell, especially if you're in a low volume, high margin model, where it's a trust cycle, a long sales cycle, and they have to trust you to buy from you. How can you do that in a way without sacrificing your soul and having to sell the old way? So I want to give you some insights that I've been kind of crafting for the last 25 years and really help you think differently about how you approach your sales process. So I want to dedicate today's talk, which I always do every time I speak, to my grandmother. She was 101 years old when she passed away, but she was an entrepreneur like us. She had many businesses over the years. I used to visit her a lot and just take notes whenever she spoke with me. And she left me with one key saying, which was, successful people are made in good times and in bad times, which means that time has nothing to do with it. It has to do with you and how open you are to changing your thinking. And that's been locked in my head ever since. And I got the exact same message from the gentleman here, who you probably recognize. He told us the same thing when he came to visit pre-COVID, a group of us, the same concept. You got to be able to let go of your current construct, your current mindset, and adapt to where the words are going. And so I want to apply that concept today to challenge you in advance, let you know that what you'll be sharing with you is very contrarian and very different what you're probably used to if you have a history in the world of selling. So just a little premise there. And real quickly, on the personal side, I wrote a book about my son, Toby. He is a special boy, he has Down syndrome, and he has impacted my life in such an incredible way. A lot of my work around sales is related to how he views the world. He's very transparent, very open, very loving. He has no hidden agenda. And I took a lot of his principles that I learned from him and embedded it into my whole approach. So that's kind of how it all connects together if you're curious about how I came up with this concept and that. So I'll just get into it now in a short amount of time. What I want to do, and just want to mention one key thing first, is that trust, I believe, is a new currency. To be able to grow your business, to bring new clients in, especially in a commoditized world, they have to know that you're the one they can trust over somebody else. And you're going to learn today that trust will be the essence of what we're talking about and why it's so important to be conscious of it and how you build trust with somebody in a sales environment. But it's different than what you might be thinking about. So it won't be about the relationship, it's about a different concept around trust. So real briefly on the screen here, what I have is I put together a real basic sales process that probably most of you fall into here and there. It's a bit basic, but you tell me if it really resonates with you. But typically in selling, what happens is this: either someone contacts you or you contact someone. Then from there, you have a quick meeting, maybe a cup of coffee, ask them some questions, see if there's a possible fit. Maybe you schedule again to go deeper with them for a deeper meeting to discuss their problems and what you do with them, and hopefully schedule it. Then you meet with them and you talk about your solution and see if you're a good fit. Then at the end of the meeting, usually they say things like, hey, sounds great. Thank you so much. I want to think about it, right? And then you follow up with them afterwards, kind of chase them. And then hopefully at the end, if all goes well, hopefully this happens, the sale. I know this may not apply to you exactly, but most of you, you're a consulting kind of business or kind of a low volume, high margin, high trust model. Somewhere in this is probably where you fit somewhere in your sales process. So maybe with a show of hands or a note or raise your hand somehow, how many of you right now have potential prospects or clients that you've gone through the cycle with and they're somewhere stuck at the 7 o'clock position at the follow-up stage? Who's now chasing somebody who's a ghost, who's not called you back, who you had a great meeting with, and you're wondering, why did they not call me back? I gave them great value. I educated them. There's great chemistry. Now they're just not calling me back. And I see one hand went up there, and maybe there's a few more coming up now. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have what I call ghosts somewhere in your process you're now chasing, and you're wondering, you're saying to yourself, why? Why aren't they calling me back? Why don't they feel comfortable telling me the truth right now? I can take it. I'm an adult. So I'm going to suggest to you that the reason why you're chasing someone right now and they're not calling you back is because somewhere along the way in your process, you are missing trust between each step of the way somewhere that you were unconscious of, where they weren't feeling comfortable telling you the truth of where they stood. And I believe that you can make a major breakthrough in your business and to grow it if you are consciously aware of your process based upon trust and what you can do to add steps in between it for them to feel comfortable that you're different, they can trust you, and they can feel comfortable giving you a yes or no in a short amount of time. Because I believe what we're battling out there right now is indecisiveness, the inability to make the decision, right? That's why we hear things like, I want to think about it, I'm not sure yet, get back to me next week. People have a hard time making decisions now because they're so frazzled with life in general. So the real question is this: how do we build enough trust with somebody in one conversation so they feel comfortable saying to you, let's do this? In fact, I have a new book coming out called Trust in a Split Second next year, which makes the case that it takes a second to say yes. Why does it take so long to get to the yes? So we'll talk today about how to compress a sales cycle from multiple steps into one step to build enough trust with somebody where they can feel comfortable telling you the truth. Now, let me show you the premise behind my approach, which I've been doing for 25 years in this little narrow niche and nothing else. And it came from a story that happened to me. Many years ago, I was a sales manager in a software company. We launched the first online website tracking tools to collect data for websites. And we were eventually bought by Google. But the point was, I had people underneath me working for me, but the big leads came my way. And so this one day we got an inbound call. I picked the phone up, and this big company called us, and it was a big lead. I got the opportunity, and my contact agreed to a conference call and a webinar so we can show them a demo of what we do. And they finally came Friday 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll never forget it. I was in the conference room with my CEO, and if I close this one sale, it will double turnover of the company in one go. That's how big it was. Big opportunity. So a huge amount of websites and big business. So the day finally came. I was excited. I was in the room with my CEO, and there's a big, like, old school speakerphone. Remember the old Star Trek ones in the middle of the conference table? And I hit the speakerphone. I dialed the number, and my contact was there. He said, "Hey, Ari." I said, "Hey, John, how's it going?" He goes, "Good." And he says to me, "Let us tell you, Ari, who's with us today on the line." I said, "Great." Next thing I hear is, "My name's John, I'm CEO." I was like, "Oh, wow, CEO, this is good." "My name is Mike, I'm head of global IT." Even better. "My name is Julie, I'm head of global marketing." Oh my God, perfect. Like, everybody on this call was a decision maker. You know what I'm talking about? Been there before? Like, they're all in one place. It's going to happen. It's going to happen today. So I didn't introduce myself, discuss what we do, and started to log in and started giving them a demo of their website we collected in advance to show them how all the stats work in real time. And so I'm logging them in, I'm walking them through everything, and I started hearing this noise on the phone call, like, "Wow, that's great. This is amazing." They started asking me all kinds of questions. How does it work? How do we install it? There was so much chemistry on this phone call. It was like a love fest on the phone. You know what I'm talking about? You've been there before with someone, like a prospect? Like the chemistry is just so right. You're saying to yourself, what? This is going to happen. That's really how I felt. It was that good. So an hour goes by, they're asking me all kinds of questions. I'm answering questions and there's no pressure at all. I'm doing my natural thing. And the call comes to a close and my contact says to me, Ari, this is great. We love it. Give us a call in a couple of weeks, follow up with us, and we'll move this thing forward. I said, oh, thank you, God. I was like, oh man, if it makes a sale, it will make my whole year, you know? So I said my goodbyes. I took my hand and I reached for the speakerphone on the conference room table. As I'm reaching for the off button on the speakerphone, by complete accident, I hit the mute button instead of the off button. Just hit the wrong button by accident. And a small click happened, and they thought I hung up the phone. In that split second, a voice inside of me said, Ari, go to the dark side. Be a fly in the wall. Go where no one else has gone before. And they started talking amongst themselves, thinking I left the call. So I pulled my thumb back for just a couple seconds. They started talking amongst themselves, thinking I was gone. Now, what would you imagine they would have said after a call like that? Not a trick question, but you imagine probably would have been pretty good things, I would imagine. You might be thinking. But let me share with you what they said verbatim, word for word. I'll never forget it. That's why we're all here today. Here's what they said. They said, we're not going to go with him. Keep using him for more information. And make sure we shop someplace else cheaper. Knife and heart twist. I was in a state of shock. I could not believe it. I snapped out of it. I hit the off button. I looked at the wall and I said to myself, what did I do wrong? I was competent. I was professional. I educated them. I did everything I was taught to do by all the sales gurus I learned from over the years. And here I was lied to. And I said to myself, something is wrong in this game. Someone has to figure out a way to make both people feel comfortable telling each other the truth to see if it's a fit or not. Otherwise, we end up stuck in this chasing game and get ghosted. And we're told one thing and they do a different thing. And that's the core problem that I made my mission to solve for people in business, to not chase ghosts anymore, to onboard new clients without playing all that dysfunctional processes that just are really disheartening. So that's the core reason that drove me to come up with this concept. So, you know, what's interesting about selling is that most people, our owners in particular, end up taking the path of most resistance because they're just used to it. They're used to taking the punches and playing the numbers game and chasing people. They just think that's the way life is. But I want to share with you, there is a path of least resistance. But you got to be open-minded. You got to be coachable. You got to be willing to challenge your own thinking to get to that path. And I want to give you a clear roadmap for that today, give you a sense of what's possible. So let me kind of walk through what I call are some of the myths around selling and sales conversion that probably some of you might be going, he's right about that one. Like, here's a couple. We have this old conditioning in our mind that essentially long sales cycles are normal. It's expected. Chasing somebody, lots of meetings. But my contention is this, that long sales cycles are a result of a lack of trust. And if you can build trust with people from the beginning of the process, you'll have a shorter amount of cycle to deal with. In fact, my case has always been made. The sale is lost at the beginning of your process, not the end. We've been taught to think, oh, it's the close, it's the follow-up, that's what's going to happen. No, it's lost or made at hi. You know the movie, Lost Me Hello? It's the same kind of concept. So, and I'll make the case for that today. The second notion is this idea that we believe our job is to show our value. Prove to them that you know what you're talking about. But I'll suggest to you that value in itself has been commoditized. Others can give value as well. It's online, value is for free. So to show them your value, to prove your credibility in itself has become a non-differentiator. So I'm going to suggest to you that your goal is to stop delivering value pre-sale, but instead deliver clarity. Clarity on their issues so they feel you understand them more than anybody else. Now, I want you to advance. These are very contrarian ideas, very different, because you've probably been taught by your company or your history that your job is to sell value, deliver value. That's not your job pre-sale. That's your job post-sale, not pre-sale, okay? The next notion is this idea that your job is to educate them to prove your expertise, right? Aren't we taught to educate our prospects? Hey, let me tell you what we do and how we work. Well, same thing. You got to be careful and stop over educating people and doing free consulting. Who, raise your hand if you find yourself sometimes doing free consulting and you can't help it in your sales process, giving away advice, educating them on your solution, attempting to show them that you know what you're talking about. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a common aspect for lots of people to do that. And that comes from the old days when we are trying to show them value to prove to them that we're good at what we do. I'm going to challenge you to tell you that's a mistake and causing you to lose people, because education can now be seen as persuasion. As you convincing them that your way is better. And what you don't want to be doing is persuading people to go your way. You want them to trust you enough to say, I want you to help me. Different mindset altogether. So here's another one too. This whole idea that chasing is okay. Chasing is abnormal. It should not be happening. And if it's happening right now in your business model, in your sales pipeline, something broke early on in your process you're not aware of, causing you to chase them. And we'll talk about how to prevent chasing once and for all from never happening again. And I'll tell you, a lot of people approach me. They say, Ari, I just need more leads. If I get more leads, I'm fine. I make more sales. And I challenge them. I say, look, I don't think you need more leads. I think what you need is to convert the leads that you already have. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're not converting at 100% of everyone who's qualified coming your way, then something's wrong in your approach. Because they're qualified, they have a problem, they need your help. What's probably happening is you're doing the behaviors that I'm talking about now, which is education, value, even relationship building. And now it sounds kind of crazy, but your job is to build a relationship with them after they're a client, not before they're a client. Because before they're a client, that takes time. And relationships take time. It's hard to build them in a short amount of time. So how do you replace relationship building with trust? They're very different tracks. So I'm going to show you today how to do that with a different model that might give you some clarity and relieve you of the pressure of having to have coffee meetings and it going nowhere and saying, hey, what did I do wrong? It's probably their fault, okay? So the model I came up with and have now kind of really mastered is what I call the doctor diagnostic model. And it's tied to my one-call sale process to be able to really get the truth of people quickly. And it's modeled off the medical model. So let me ask you all a question. What do you have to do to get to go see a doctor? What's the process for that you have to do normally? You have to make an appointment. You got to set aside a half an hour on each side for driving traffic. You drive there in your car. You park your car. You go in the office. You sit in the waiting room. And what do you do next? You wait. And you wait. Then they call you in and they say to you, where does it hurt? You say, my shoulder. They say, let me take a look. Looks on the shoulder. Let's get an x-ray, see what's going on. Gets the x-ray, puts in the light bulb and says, here's the problem you've got. You've got that going on, you've got that going on, you've got that going on. And you feel a sense of clarity and relief that finally the doctor told you what the problem is. Then he walks you through a treatment plan of how to fix it. You walk out the door and you pay. You pay the front desk, you pay the doctor, not for solving your problem. It still hurts, but for clarity on the problem. That is the mental model and the framework and the process I'm going to teach you right now of how you can shift to become the doctor in your business. With the doctor diagnosing the problem and building trust with them, not because they like you, but because they trust you. And here's the irony of all this is you don't have to become their friend for them to trust you. I wrote an article recently called Doctors Don't Do Coffee. They don't do coffee for a reason. They don't hang out with you, become your friend, and have coffee because they know if they mix together the social norms and the business norms, it gets very messy, and they can't tell you the source of your problem because it's scary to tell you that. So what I'm going to teach you today is a way for you to quickly unpack the issue of your potential prospect into a metaphor called going down the iceberg. Going down the iceberg when you meet someone for the first time in the first meeting, and they tell you what their problems are. But your instinct will be when they describe their problems to you to solve the problem. But the difference here is I'm going to show you in a few minutes a method and a way for you to go below their problem, unpack it, and help them see the gravity of it, the seriousness of it, and the priority of wanting to solve it with you in that first meeting. Because most people in sales, what they do is they say, so what's going on? What's your challenge? And they say, my challenge is X, Y, Z. And your brain goes, I can fix that. Let me show you how I fix it. And off you go to the sales pitch, and now you lose them. And there's no trust being built. Trust is built when you understand their problem better than they understand themselves. Value is delivered not by your solution, but valued by the gaps in what they can't see about their own issue. So I'm going to show you right now a process and languaging to use when you meet someone to be able to meet them for the first time, unpack their situation to a deeper level that they themselves didn't know about themselves. Because that's where the trust happens, when they say to themselves, wow, she gets me. He understands me. You know, when you meet your partner, you say to yourself, oh, she's got me. He got me. That feeling of got me is what trust is. They don't have to like you, they have to trust you. And here's how you do it. I'll give you some examples right now. Okay, so let's say you have your first meeting with someone. Okay, first opportunity, first conversation on Zoom, for instance. Say a LinkedIn lead comes your way and they agree to a meeting with you and they know who you are. Okay, here's how you start the meeting. Obviously, hello, nice to meet you, and nice to meet you as well. Here's how it starts, and here's some languaging for you. What might be helpful is if we can take a step back for a moment, and you can share with me a little bit about your situation, your background, your story, up to your current concerns, and we'll go from there. Is that okay with you, Julie? By you asking permission first to have them take a step back and walk through their background, their story, and their challenges, that puts this into a frame where they're judging you on your approach. Who else asks permission first? No one does that, but that's bedside manner, that doctor, that gives you empathy and caring for them. They gotta feel that you care about them and not your goal being trying to sell them something. That's why the languaging I'm giving you now is so important, because it's all trust-based languaging that eliminates all resistance, that your agenda is to help them and not for yourself. So that's the first piece of the puzzle. That's called top of the iceberg. Now you want to go below the iceberg and unpack the issues with them. The next question would be this one. So let's just say that they say to you, my biggest problem is I can't grow my business. I'm making this up, or whatever they tell you. My problem is X, right? So what you have to do is you have to listen to them tell their story. Then when they're all done, grab the problem and say, so you mentioned your biggest problem is XYZ, right? They go, yes. Next question is this. Can you tell me a little bit more specifically about what your concerns are about that problem? And sit back like this and don't say a word. And they'll, like a doctor, they'll begin to unravel right in front of you and begin to share with you more about what their concerns are. Next question down the iceberg. How long has that been a problem for? Sit back like this, like a doctor. Let them open up to you. They're judging you. They're testing you. They want to see if you're willing to listen to them and go inside their world, or are you going to jump to your world and talk about you? The irony of all this is they don't really care about you. Nothing personal. I'm sure you're all nice people. They don't care about you or your solution. What they care about is what? Are you the one to solve their problem or not? They're asking themselves the whole time, do I trust him? Do I trust her? Do I trust her? They're not asking themselves, is your solution right for me? Because if that was true, they'd say, yeah, let's do it. So back to the iceberg. So we're going down the iceberg now. The next question is this one. What have you done so far on your own to try and resolve this by yourself? Now they're sharing with you, well, I tried this, I tried that, it's not working now. See, what you're doing here is helping them understand the gravity of their situation. You're amplifying the gap. You're helping them understand the totality of their own problem, because on their own, they can't see it. At the top of the iceberg, all they see is 180 degrees. You're helping them see it 360 by not talking about you, but just unpacking the problem. Next question, this is important. What is the impact to your business that's occurring right now by not fixing the problem? How is this impacting your business so far? What are the losses How's it impacting your team? How's it impacting you personally? Now they're feeling the gravity of their own problem. It's like a doctor showing the x-ray and saying, you got a real problem. It's your right calf, not your shoulder. Oh my God, you're right, doctor. Same idea here. You're helping the patient, the client, the prospect see their own situation in a much deeper way. You're not even doing any selling at all. And this is how you're building trust with them, because you're working on them, not on you at the moment. Next question. How much are you losing or not making because of the problem? You're helping them see the impact of the issue and the urgency of it and the gravity of it. Are y'all with me so far? Maybe give me a thumbs up or something. I just want to I'm going kind of quick, but I want to give you a sense of the model here so you begin to understand that your job is to be quiet. I know it's going to be hard because you love what you do, right? You're passionate. You can't wait to do what? You can't wait to tell them about what you do. But what's the problem with that? It's not about them. So you got to self-correct. You got to say to yourself, okay, my job is to stop talking. My job is to listen. Don't try and solve the problem, which I know is so contrarian in nature because you want to help people, right? You have a good heart. And they say to you, here's my problem. You're like, you want to give them a cuddle, right? Oh, come over here. I'll help you. We can help you fix the problem. But no, the patient has to own their problem and want to fix it first. It's like a therapist and a patient. If the patient doesn't own their own problem, they're not going to go through therapy, I promise you. You got to drag them through it. My dad he told me, he was a psychologist, he told me this all the time. He's like, Ari, the best patients are the ones that own their problem and admit they want to fix it. I was like, oh, good idea. Don't take on somebody who doesn't want to fix their own problem. Okay, so down the iceberg, you're taking them down, they're opening up to you, they're impressed with the fact you're not talking about yourself, and you're helping them see their own issue. And the last key question is this one. Is this a priority for you to solve once and for all? To get off your plate? Or is something you want to do next year? And I'm okay either way. Give an exit door. They don't want to feel trapped. Give them a way out. But that question's so profound. You're making them make a decision about their own problem. Is this a priority for you? Now, if all goes well, you do this the right way with the right mindset, they're probably going to say to you, what? You're right. It's important. It's a priority. How can you help me? You're waiting for that moment when they ask you for what? For help. You can't jump in, start educating them on, hey, let me show you how I can fix this. Let me show you my slides. Let me show you a demo. No, do not do that. That's sales 101. That's what they hate. Let them ask you for help. You want to know why? Because the patient now wants to solve their own problem with you. They're in. The sale is made at the bottom of the iceberg. The next part of the process I'll show you right now is called onboarding. It's a lovely word. No closing. No selling, just onboarding. And you do that through a roadmap process. But before I jump in there, here's the key idea behind this. Your job is to help them see the gap of their own problem. Because on their own, they can't see it. You have to help them create what I call a moment of vulnerability, where they feel comfortable opening up to you and sharing with you what their true issues are. And let me share with you, the key principle is this. Your job is to keep the ball in their court the whole time. The message is this to them. Here's the core message. This is your problem, not mine. I'm not going to own it for you. I'm sorry. You got to own it. You got to want to solve it. There's going to be a business case to solve it. And I'm here to help you see the problem and make sure there's a case to solve it. But I'm not going to take it on board and assume I can fix it for you. That takes a lot of self-confidence. And willingness to let go of your own agenda. Because that's what trust is created, because they feel, wow, I can trust him and her. She's not trying to pitch me, sell me, or educate me. They're trying to help me solve my problem. Doctor, patient. The iceberg is the key to the whole thing. Now, what you're looking for is this. How can you help me? How do you work? How can we work with you? That way they're coming to you now. You're not trying to chase them backwards. But be careful. Because there's some self-talk that might go in the back of your subconscious that might come forward and might say things you like this. Oh, well, if I don't show them my solution as soon as possible, I might lose them. I got to show them something, Ari. I got to educate them. Otherwise, they might leave me. Right? Then there's also this one too. But my job is to create momentum. When there's a lull, I got to add momentum. I got to add my personality. I got to get them going. I got to create chemistry. Right? Or how about this one? My job is to build relationships with people. That's my job, is for them to get to know me better. Your job is not to get to know them. Your job is to get to know their problems. Not know them. Doctors don't say, hey, how's it? I want to get to know you first before we discuss your shoulder. Tell me about your kids. How's the weather out? Did you watch the footy game yesterday? So did I. What a funny coincidence. They don't do that for a reason. Because they know they have 30 minutes to build trust with you. They're very smart. And what do? We comply with the doctor, don't we? So again, do not attempt to prove your value, because your value is already built in to the iceberg when you're helping them see their own problem in a unique way that no one else has before. Okay? Now, your instinct will be, when they say, how can I help you, is to start doing what? Start showing them what? Your solution, right? That's normal. Let me show you how we work and what our software is, what our consulting is. Let me show you what we can help you. But no, there's a step before that. It's a meta step. It's a step that is instead of what you think it should be, it's called a roadmap that I'm going to show you in a minute, that you have to create and show them your process for how you help them solve their problem. Not your solution, not how much you charge, but a framework and a process for how you go about solving their problem. Different step in your mind. Okay, you think they want to choose your solution, but they don't care about how you solve their problem. I know it sounds nuts. What they care about is, are you the one to solve it or not? And how do you solve that problem? So, I'll give an example of this. I met recently with a financial advisor, business coach guy, and I asked him, do you have a roadmap that you show to your prospects in your first meeting with them, or when you meet with them in your sales process? He goes, yeah, I have a roadmap. I go, oh, can you show it to me? So they go, yeah, I show this to them and about how I work with them. Oh, can I see it? He goes, sure. And here's what he showed me. Take a look. Does it all make sense to you? Real simple, right? No, it's spaghetti. I said, he goes, it's simple. It's simple, Ari. Step one, step two. I said, it's simple for you in your mind, because you live in that every single day. For them, this is spaghetti. I don't even know what this even means. It's got colors, circles, arrows, words. It's perplexing. It's complicated. You have to decomplex your process and make it simple. Simplicity equals trust. Complexity equals I want to think about it. So I work with him, and we revamped this, and this became this, what I called his roadmap. 3 simple stages. Phase 1, your goals and vision. ... Phase 2, potential options. That's his process for how he works with people. Phase 3, execution of the plan. All this is a framework for how he thinks to solve the problem, but not their exact solution. Now he walks them through this, and you know what he says to them at the end? He says, what are your thoughts on the roadmap? And they go, makes sense. It's common sense. But the other one didn't make sense. You know what they said after he showed the other one to them? Yes. Anyone can guess? They said, I want to think about it. And he's chasing them because of it. So the simplicity is the key. And you all need your own roadmap. You need your own visual tool that makes it easy for them to say, yes, let's do this. So here are the key tips to make your own roadmap. First, no more than 3 to 4 phases. Keep it simple on one sheet. 3 or 4 phases, that's it. No more than 3 or 4 bullets per category. That's really clear for them to absorb and consume. No fancy logos, no colors, no crazy arrows, simple. This cannot look like a marketing document. It must look like a basic roadmap. Anybody understands? No logos, nothing like that. It can't be fancy. And of course, keep it simple and straightforward. And together with the iceberg and the roadmap, when you lock these in together and you master this, then you've aced the ability to build trust with somebody and get a yes on our first meeting called the one call. I don't mean a signed contract. I mean a commitment to your next step in your process on your calendar, not off your calendar. And that is the goal. So I wanted to give you that chunk today quickly of the one call sale model that I created that's so effective now to coach people on, that really helps them out a lot. If you want to learn more, I have some extra copies of my new book at the office here. And if you're a Bow member, feel free to go to that website there at the top of the screen. My office will send you the book in the mail. It's a physical book. It has more in there, more insights, more languaging. And if you want, on the way out when you order the book, there's an option there to click the yes button to schedule a time with me. And I'm happy to do analysis of your situation, walk through your sales model and figure out where the holes are and give you some insights to help you along your way. So it's available to anybody who would like from today. And I wanted to at least just drop in this, the chunk of the model, to give you a way to use this right away and get successful. That's the link, and feel free to, if you like, optional. And of course, we'll go to some Q&A, ladies. So should I come out of this so we can take some questions? All right. So we'll just, are we okay on timing here? Okay, cool. So if you have some questions, I've got a few minutes now. If you have a scenario for me you'd like some coaching on, that's all I do, is I coach business owners on this this model to help them master.
Ari, I'm just going to jump in for a moment. Guys, if you want to put your camera on so we can see those beautiful faces, and we'll get these questions going.
If you're in a low volume, high margin model, this will apply to you directly.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say, Ari, hi, it's nice to see you. It's Daria. Thank you so much. That was unbelievable. That was really, really helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome, and I love your location.
Thanks. I'm just at the beach, but I had to attend.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you.
I'll chat to you soon. I'm super keen to click your link and have a little
For
chat.
sure. No worries.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anybody have a situation or a scenario right now where you're stuck? You're chasing the opportunity. It's a complex scenario, but you would love some advice to get them back on board again. I'm here for a few minutes to help you with that if you'd like.
Ari, my husband's going to jump on and ask a question. He's just sorting his tech out in the background here.
Sure. Keep it all in the family.
Hey,
yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good. Yourself? That was great. Thank you. My question is just around, so I sell kind of high ticket items to defense. So you're not necessarily selling to the person who's actually paying the money.
Right.
There's a few steps to go through.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get your take on how you might sort of work that scenario.
So let me guess, long sales cycle, right?
Yeah.
Multiple decision makers, right?
Yeah.
And then your contact does not write the check.
100%.
Of course, they're your ambassador and they have to go to someone else to get the approval, right?
Yeah.
But my guess is they don't necessarily allow you into their inner circle for you to go speak directly to the decision maker, right?
Yeah.
Right. So why do you suppose they're not comfortable bringing you in the inner circle to bring you closer to the decision maker? What do you think their concern is that they brought you in? What do you suppose their fear might be?
I mean, it may be their chain of command. They're just going to go out and find out pricing and more information on this particular product or whatever. And it's more of a, I suppose, an information gathering process than necessarily, because sometimes it's the budget. They want to know how much it costs before they find the budget, as opposed to having the budget to then go and find out how much.
Yeah. Look, a government system is harder. It's structured. It's designed to not allow people in who sell.
Yeah.
Designed to keep you on the outside versus the inside. But there are ways for them to trust you to not be seen as one more vendor they cannot trust. And that goes to this scenario where when you meet with your contacts, if you stay focused on their problems and you help them amplify the gap, and they feel comfortable trusting you because your approach is different, I think that there's a way to get you in the door where they allow you in to the committee, to the decision maker. Because here's the reason why they don't let you in. They're afraid if they bring you in the decision maker on your own, then you might do what?
Sell.
Right.
Yeah.
That's their mindset. They're thinking his goal is to get to make a sale to the Defense Department. He wants the check. He wants the deal. That's his job. So you got to change the perception that you are not a salesperson. You're a doctor.
Yeah.
With that mindset shift, you then begin to diagnose their problem and show them things about their own problem, even their proposal to you. In effect, may not contain all the issues they themselves even understand. Is that possible?
Yep, I think so.
They might tell you X, turns out they actually need Y. Does that happen sometimes? I'd bet. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So there are some ways we can make some inroads in your situation where you can prove to them that you're not going to take advantage of them, and they can allow you in as a consultant to help them solve their problem, irregardless of whether they hire you or not.
Yeah.
That is the key message they have to get from you from the beginning.
Okay.
Then the whole thing shifts around, hey, let's bring him in. He may have some advice for us about this problem. So it's a problem-centric approach versus solution-centric. That's the shift. It's a mindset shift, so to speak.
Yeah, okay. I'll work on that.
It's not easy at first because it challenges your own thinking.
Yeah.
But think about the perception on their view. They're being bombarded with what? Sales pitches.
Yeah.
Knocking on doors. Hey, just give me a call to follow up. In fact, I'll give you all a tip right now. Never again use the word follow up as of today, ever again. What? I follow up with people. Instead, say this: I'm giving you a call to see if you have any feedback on our last conversation, any feedback on the proposal. Follow up is a sales word. Do not use sales words people hate. It lowers your authority, demeans you as you're positioning. As a doctor, you cannot be perceived as chasing people. So I've relanguaged all the sales processes to replace that languaging to not get stuck in that perception. Then they don't let you in the front door.
Yeah, that's really useful. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Rebecca put a note. Good gold nugget. Okay, I like that. Yeah, there's lots of nuggets. In fact, the book has nuggets in there. So get a copy of it and click yes if you want to chat with me. I'll talk through, like I did with the gentleman here, your sales model and figure out where the holes are. Then give you some ideas to kind of patch it up again. All right. Anybody else have a question or a comment or want some tips for something while we're still here? I see Gael out there.
Yeah, one for me. So obviously we know each other. I've just realized, like, going through like your experience, that I've been doing this, like I've been using this framework completely unconsciously. And I've always that's how I've been always trying to work with people, like building the trust, like before trying to sell anything. But as I was saying, completely unconsciously. Now there's something, especially in our field of expertise, which is like software, so high low volume, really high tickets, which is price. Sometimes you have like the best everything relationship, best, like all the meetings align until you like tell them how much it's gonna cost, and then sometimes you never hear from them again, like never, like, which is like, I guess something that, like, from now I'm always trying to get like this out like very, very early in the conversation. But yeah, I don't know what's your take on that.
Here's why that happens. Because the economic value to them is a negative to what they're going to be paying you. When they see that price, they go, "Oh my God, $100,000. That's a cost to us. That's an expense," as opposed to an investment. Now, what you have to do is on that iceberg process, you have to get a business case and an ROI on what the impact, the economic impact is of the losses of their problem. So let's say they want custom software to solve a procurement problem. I'm making this up. And it's $100,000. You have to help them build a business case to show them the impact of the problem in procurement is costing the company $1 million. There's got to be a frame where they go, okay, we're losing X and it costs $100,000 to fix the problem. It's worth the investment. There's got to be that set up from the beginning. I don't know how much you're doing of that, but if we get this right from the beginning on that first meeting, then the economic decision is not a cost decision. It's a investment decision. That will help smooth. And then when it comes to price, by the way, there's a way to do this where you can quickly get a verbal yes from them before you give them the hard price after the technical spec that you do on your job. And that is to give them a range, a broad range. If they say to you, how much is it? You say it can be anywhere from 10K to 200K. It's a big range. I have no idea what it'll be until we do a little deep dive discovery session together, assessment to figure out what your specs are. So there's ways of kind of softening the blow early on to like warm them up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Good to see you again. All right.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for attending, everyone, today. Be sure to connect with Ari on the BOA app. To see more of our events, head to the events icon on the app. And for our community-based events, you'll find these inside your industry-based and local community groups. We'll send a short survey out after this call, so please share your feedback on this event and tell us what you'd like to see in the future. We look forward to seeing you all again soon.